So have you heard about Arthur's Day, which is taking place this year on the 24th of September, and it's in celebration of 250 years ago Arthur Guinness signed a very savvy lease for 9,000 years on St James's Gate. I'm here with Grainne-Wafer, who's the head of Guinness marketing here in Ireland. And Grainne, it's great to catch up with you. I've been here with you today and there's been a fantastic celebration. Why don't you tell everybody what's been going on and also what's going to be happening in the future?
Yeah, we had a great day here today. We had two bands who will be joining us on Arthur's Day on September the 24th, the Chapters and Noah and the Whale, and we were joined with lots of media and other guests to help launch the lineup for Arthur's Day on September the 24th. Basically what's going to happen on that day is we are kicking off with a toast at 17:59 on September the 24th, which is Thursday, and that's going to happen in pubs and venues across Dublin and spread across the world from here. There's going to be parties in New York, Lagos, Asia, and of course here in the home of Guinness in Dublin, where we're going to be celebrating in a very special way with 28 pubs hosting up-and-coming Irish talent. International bands and names will be dropping in as well. We have 4 studio gigs with 7 international names playing at those, and in addition, right up at the brewery, the home of Guinness, we have transformed one of our old buildings, Hop Store 13, into a special custom-made venue where 2,000 guests from around the world will be flying in to help us celebrate in style on September the 24th.
Well, that sounds like fantastic, but I have a question for you as somebody who's managing from a marketing perspective. I know you've got a team of people and the communications team and so on involved as well, but actually orchestrating not just such a large event here, but you mentioned it's going to be happening elsewhere as well. How do you manage that? Give us some ideas from a global program perspective. How do you manage the overall program? What are some of the challenges, particularly in terms of the complexities when you're managing that across time zones and trying to pull it all together? How does that happen?
Well, first of all, it obviously doesn't happen overnight. We've been planning this for about 2 years. The global team are coordinating all of the local market efforts, and as I'm coordinating all the efforts here for the celebrations in Ireland, my counterpart in Africa, in Asia, in America is doing exactly the same. And we're feeding in all of the information of the events we're running, of the things we're doing into the global team, and then they're helping us by making sure that all of that is coordinated, completely smooth, that it all hangs together, has great look and feel, and also in creation of some global assets which we can use in turn from them to help deliver that consistency across the world. So I think the main thing from running a program like that is just being really clear about who's doing what, every person having ownership for what's going on in their own individual market, and then very clear lines of communication into the global team and vice versa so that we can work together. So basically weekly meetings, lots of telephone calls and lots of conversations to help make sure that we're really picking up every single element of the plan and that nothing's falling between any cracks anywhere.
Now, the other thing I know you guys focus a lot on is return on investment. That's really important in terms of any marketing that you do as a business and as a brand, both above the line and below the line. So I don't want you to give away any trade secrets because I know you wouldn't anyway, but if you were looking at this and thinking about it from the context of any marketing manager and a head of brands anywhere, what tips do you have in terms of the kind of key performance indicators, the measurements on a program which you could say at one level is just a big party?
I hope it's a lot more than that. And actually that's where we've started from, is about making sure that it doesn't just turn out to be a big party, because I think that would have been a very straightforward and expected way for us to celebrate 250 years. There's a couple of objectives that we set out at the start of the year. The first of all was to use this anniversary to create a lasting legacy for the brand into the future. And really when you go, like, what do we want to achieve? We want to make sure that the Guinness brand is around for the next 250 years in fantastic shape, growing very healthy, with its current drinkers feeling fantastic about the brand and a whole new audience introduced to it. So if you go, that's the overriding objective of which all of our KPIs are set against. Within that then, obviously 250 gives a great opportunity to really talk to and involve your current drinkers in celebrations, in getting involved in our signature campaign, in creating a legacy for the future, and also introducing a whole new group of drinkers who haven't maybe tried Guinness, or maybe who haven't been fully aware of the philanthropic legacy of Arthur Guinness, or the history, or all of the things that go into making this the amazing brand that it is. So they're the kind of two main parameters that we're assessing success by. And then obviously we've set out some kind of huge challenges in terms of the creation of the Arthur Guinness Fund, where we're looking for up to 1 million people in Ireland to put their name on posters in pubs across the year. And so far, I'm delighted to say, Christian, we have 470,000 signatures. So we're nearly halfway there in terms of creating that lasting legacy for the future. And I think, when we look back on December the 31st this year, that's one of the things that will make us feel really proud about what we've achieved if we're in that position of being able to announce a full 2.5 million fund for
just remind people about that, because they may not have come across it. If you're here in Ireland and you're in pubs, you should be able to find some posters. So tell us how that works.
Yes, so since April we have had posters in pubs across Ireland. We also have staff at events like the Galway races. It's a great opportunity for people to sign, or any of the hurling matches across the summer, coming into rugby in September as well, and October for the Guinness series in the autumn. And really what we're asking people to do is literally just on a poster, we've posted with Arthur Guinness's name on the very top of it. It looks like a lease, looks like the original lease. You just sign your name next to that, and when we get, for every signature we get, we donate $250 in your name to this special fund, and then this fund is going to be built, hopefully we'll get 1 million signatures and a fund of up to €2.5 million, and then we'll work with social entrepreneurs of Ireland to identify projects that will create lasting change and lasting good. So hopefully, like long after we finish celebrating the impact of what we've achieved in our 250 years, we'll still be going strong.
So if you're on holiday in Ireland, or if you live here like we do, and you're in a pub, or you're somewhere at one of the events as Grainne just mentioned, all it's going to cost you is your little bit of work to sign your name, and for every signature, €2.50 is donated towards that fund. Now, that's in the real world, but you're also engaging in the online world. I know, for example, the Guinness Storehouse, #1 visitor attraction, has got a great thing that goes on when you go there. They've got a photo sharing thing. You're starting to engage more and more with social media. Tell us about kind of some of the things that you're doing in that virtual world.
I think what we've done in the last 12 months is really kind of move, I think, from treating a virtual world like a real world to actually really kind of starting to understand it a bit more, and really work out how we're going to behave in that new sphere. And there's a couple of things we've been doing, and the first of which is actually our hurling supporter pages on Facebook, where actually you can get involved in your particular group of who you support. The other thing we're doing obviously is our 250 activity on Facebook as well. So that's relatively new areas for us in terms of moving into social networking. Before that, we've done quite a lot in the area of kind of virals, websites, driving people to our website and driving experiential programs off that. But really, in terms of the social networking space, those two initiatives are relatively new and really our first foray into that space as a brand. So it's very exciting. I think one of the things we thought long and hard about was just making sure that we had something newsworthy to say. The Guinness brand, and I suppose many great chat has had over a pint of Guinness in the real world, and hopefully we're providing some information and new news and really kind of things that are worth telling people about in the virtual world. So in the virtual world, hopefully we're creating conversations as well as in the pubs.
Well, I should disclose that you and I used to work together.
That's right, yes.
And I know a lot about Guinness and community in the real world, and Guinness and community as you talk about in terms of supporting local communities. So actually it's just taking that same approach, isn't it, in terms of Guinness and communities online?
Exactly, Krishna. And that's really, I think, trying to work out, from a brand perspective, what's your reason to be there? What sort of conversations do you want to have? What sort of news are you going to be able to provide? How are you going to add value? You don't want to be, I think, up there as a brand just kind of with no credible reason to be there and, really just annoying people. I think you want to be providing really good information and something that people value and find interesting.
So if you had one tip to leave anybody who's thinking about social media and engagement and building community, because as I said, the brand of Guinness certainly has done that in a huge way in the real world, but there are still some brands, and rightly so, are thinking about, well, where does it fit in for us? And when you think about this as part of your integrated marketing communications plan, what's that one piece of advice? You've got 10 seconds to say it.
10 seconds. I'd say make sure what you've got to say is worth hearing, and then try it, say it, and be willing to engage in those conversations, get feedback, be open to learn. You know, it's an interactive space. You can't go out there thinking you know it all. You don't. You're going to hear a lot. You're going to find out more, and make sure what you want to say up front is newsworthy, and then just go for it.
This is Krishna-De of BizGrowth News with Grainne-Wafer. Thanks so much, Grainne, for joining us here today.
No problem at all, Krishna. Pleasure.